The 2025 Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by Sunbet, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice, VAG Automotive Centre Centurion, and EBC Brakes.
Always awesome to be at Kyalami, especially when there's a massive crowd of nearly 30,000 people over the weekend coming in to watch some Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup action and a little bit of the Festival of Motoring as well. Yes, they came out to enjoy all of the two-wheeled action that was provided by the Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup competitors, and it was going to be an absolutely epic battle over 2 days. 4 days of racing in total, but 2 days bringing you round 5 and round 6 of this incredible 2025 championship. And so far we've had spectacular action. A couple of offs in the first heat, of course, saw a couple of riders that need to make some returns to the front end of the field. Bonte was one of them. Safiso Temba was another. And we were looking to see if they can make a plan to get to the front end. Keith Agliotti will also be working hard to try and get that motorcycle of his ready to go now for race number 2. Always good to see some smiling faces and a couple of guys that might have the race face on. That young man certainly looks like he's ready to go. I think Hazeman's good to go as well. Wants another good finish. A little bit of fuel in the body. And yep, make your way to your motorcycle because it's almost time to get back out onto the black stuff. But before we go there, let's do a little dance. Get a little motorcycle ready. Have fun today. Yes, have fun today. But more importantly, has anybody got what it takes here? To get that visor down and catch Clint Seller, who has shown a clean pair of wheels so far this entire season, and once again in race 1 was untouchable. He managed to finish up almost 8 seconds up the road from Damien Purificati, and a great ride from Adrian van Dalen saw him onto the overall podium for the very first time. Time to get those tyre pressures right. Yes, that's a vital aspect to a motorcycle, particularly with these Bridgestones. They work exceptionally well at the Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit, as do the EBC brakes. And a massive welcome, of course, to our other two sponsors. The headline sponsor, Sunbet. They're loving life being here and getting an opportunity to leverage this incredible sponsorship with this long-standing relationship with the ZX10 Masters Cup. VAG Automotive, of course, are just down the road from here, so they must be loving life that they're almost in their home track, basically, here at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. So, let's see what Race 2 has in store for us as we're about to get ready to go and get back out onto track for some more race action from the Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup. Our Sunbet ladies are ready to go, and great to have the body babes there. Unfortunately, they can't get onto the grid, so that's why they have to stand on the sideline because it's such a busy day here at Kyalami. Our Orange Army, as always, about to get us under race controls orders. And we stand by now to have a look at the grid, lining up exactly as they did in yesterday's first heat. It's Seller from Purificati, Van Bredar, McMahon, Entercott and Agliotti the second row, Van Dalen, Bontekoning and Newland the third row, ahead of James Barson, Peter de Vos, Reggie Seal making up that fourth row. Fifth row is Dieter Hazeman. He's ahead of Johan Leroux and Henk Kruger, and a good effort from Tyre and Piper to stay right in the touch with them as well, all in the 55s along with Safiso Temba and Steve Galgocci. As they roll off now on their warm-up lap, it's Jacques Cruz, Raymond Keel, and at the back end, Nico Zietsman. Final row is Nkululeko Majola, Henk Scaling, and Timo Green is there, but he's not here today. He'll be back tomorrow for round number 6, I should say, and of course race 1 and 2 of that round. 8 laps of race action about to come your way. 5-minute board goes up. There we go down towards turn 1. Once again, an incredible start from the King Price Kawasaki of Clint Seller, Evil Knievel, leading them down towards Crowthorne for the first time. And as they spread out, you'll get to see just how wide this circuit is. Have a look at that. It's nearly 9 motorcycles side by side. That's how wide Kyalami is as you come down to Crowthorne Corner. From the start line, they get just over the 230 km/h mark. And of course, when they come through there flat out on the next lap of action, it'll be just over the 290 km/h mark that they climb on the anchors and bang it down all the way into second gear for Crowthorne. It's then a right-hand flick. Let's have a look at it from Henk Scaling's point of view. From the back of the pack, Class C rider, big welcome return for him as well. He also had a massive crash only a couple of months ago, so he's been off for a while. Raymond Keel just ahead of him there, making a welcome return to the Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup again. Fantastic to see some of the old stalwarts coming back into the mix, and particularly loving everything about what's happening here at Kyalami at the Festival of Motoring, and the fact that we've got ZX10 Masters Cup action here. It is awesome. They come out of sunset for the very first time. It's not quite sunset here on the day, but the action is just absolutely electric. Look at that. Look how close the riders are on this first lap, staying well within the hunt here and giving each other an opportunity to stay up close and personal with the people that they fought with in the previous race only a day ago. So having some fun and games, I can tell you this is what it's all about. It's 4 days of racing, and we're having 2 races on Saturday, 2 races on Sunday. It's brilliant stuff, and exactly what this massive crowd have come to see. Look in the background. Look at the crowd along that back straightaway towards the S's from Clubhouse. It's the old school Kyalami style racing that we've got here at Festival of Motoring, and they've come out in their hordes. Not only to be entertained here, of course, by our two-wheeled action from the ZX10 Masters Cup, but also from all of the action that happens at the circuit at the Festival of Motoring. Sella leads things out. Mid-pack starting to sort of get into those little groups that we saw earlier on in the first race, and more of the same coming from them. Bontakunen will be fighting to try and get a little bit higher up because of that crash that he had in the first one. Remember, he finished down in 21st place, so a little bit of work to do for him to try and make up some ground now and maybe steal a win in the Class Cs. Look out as well for the continued improvement coming out of Adrian van Dalen, but I think there's a little bit of a turn-up of the wick coming out of Hein McMahon as well. McMahon is definitely looking to get up there at least onto the overall podium for Class A. He might get the overall podium for the race, but Class A is going to be vital for him to get back up onto that podium to keep himself in the hunt for this championship. Ever improving Majola. What an amazing ride this man has had this weekend. Right, so coming to complete the first lap in anger here, it is Sella who's going to be the man to catch. Foucault's trying hard to try and stay a little bit closer to him than he did the last time out. Looks like it's a slightly closer race there between them. Graham Van Berdar still hanging on for third. Hein McMahon, I think, is just behind him by the looks of it, but not quite as close and up close and personal as what he was when we saw Adrian van Dalen racing with Van Berdar in race number 1. So there's a bit of work to do here, I think, for Van Dalen if he wants to try and stay in the hunt for the overall podium for this round 5 action. He's currently down in 4th or 5th place by the looks of it. It might be 4th or actually 5th or 6th place by this stage as they come down towards Crowthorne. As you can see them climbing on the brakes. There's Van Dalen up the inside, getting through on Hein McMahon by the looks of that. And then the second pack starting to just get heated up there a little bit as we see a bit of fighting in amongst the contenders there. Dieter Hazeman, Siviso Temba, Tyre and Piper in the mix there as well. Also got a glimpse there of Renatus van Niekerk and Steve Galgocci. Lubabala and Sana also trying to get slightly higher up than what he did in the first race on that LB Auto Kawasaki of his. But not quite finding the pace that I'm sure he would have liked to have had here at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. Back of the pack yet again. It's still some more action there between Zietsman, Scaling and Majola. That's just such an awesome shot. Coming out of sunset into Clubhouse. You've got 26 motorcycles going into Clubhouse Corner, and they are very, very evenly matched at this point in time. Yes, the gaps are going to open up, but a really nice shot of almost all 26 bikes going down towards the S's. Speaking of the S's, well, the top 3 head through the S's. Van Berdar trying to close that gap down on Purificati. Remember, Van Berdar is fighting for Class B honours and the overall championship. Good to see Agliotti is back on track. Let's see how far he can get up there, because he's definitely going to have to work harder than he has to normally to be in the mix. He'll be looking to try and at least get into the single digits by the time the checkered flag comes out later on. Bontakunen is certainly looking for a chance to be in those single digits, and he's doing such a good job of it at this stage for an opportunity to win out Class C. He's going to be way ahead there of Peter de Vos, who's in second place at the moment for Class C, and a long way down to Jacques Cruz in Class C's 3rd and 4th. But look out as well also for Johan Leroux. I mentioned, of course, you've got to remember that Johan Leroux is in this one and still fighting hard and looking for a chance. Just didn't see JLR from that shot, but JLR in there with his old rival, Peter de Vos, and fighting for what is now second place in Class C. So it's going to be an epic battle right to the line, as it always is. Coming down towards Ingwe, you can see that is Purificati just getting that back wheel sliding out slightly, maybe that Bridgestone feeling the effects of a slightly higher track temperature than what we had earlier on. And you can see now Kinsella just getting into cruise control. King Price and Liqui and PS brand Kawasaki just absolutely untouched this year, and really has been on a charge to possibly wrapping up the overall championship and Class A. Oh, write it down. That's JLR. JLR's gone down at Crowthorne. He's not moving. Okay, he is moving now. Just wanted to make sure he's okay. But yeah, he is the oldest rider out there, so it might take him a little bit longer than most of them. One of the fittest riders, though, I've got to say, even though he is the oldest. He's got an incredible amount of fitness, as this man. And even the marshals battled to pick that bike up. Yes, there's a yellow flag waving to warn the rest of the riders that the rider is down. Fortunately, he's okay. As you can see, just checking that motorcycle out at Crowthorne Corner. And I think JLR will be ruining that, because that's what will give an opportunity to Bontekoning to come back at him in terms of the championship points. Remember, there's still a fight on for Class C. And with Bonte only finishing down in 21st place and JLR on the podium in the first outing, he would have wanted 2 podiums. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be that here, as he's now crashed out on lap 2. Here we go, into the mid-pack again, as they come out of Yuxka and Barbecue. We're watching the leader already heading through Sunset. Banked over, absolutely perfection to see this man on a motorcycle. He really is an incredible rider when it comes to the sport of 2 wheels that we love so much. He's been a multiple SA champion in his own right. He's looking for back-to-back titles in the ZX10 Masters Cup. And will become one of a couple of riders in the past who have done back-to-back championships. Not a lot of them have done back-to-back championships with all-out wins like we've seen out of Sella. So he's looking to try and maybe match a couple of riders in the past, the likes of Gavin Lightfoot and Stewie McLeod, who came into this championship and dominated so much that they won every single round of the championships that they won. Han McMahon, as always, looks like he's kept the best for second part of the day's racing. And he's putting the pressure onto Van Dalen and onto Bontekoning, who's just up the road from him. And in fact, I think that Brian Bontekoning's race so far is arguably a massive turnaround in terms of his luck. And what we saw earlier on, and if you watch race 1, the massive high side he had in race 1's qualifying as well. So Bontekoning has certainly found something special here in the second half of this weekend. And of course, we've still got more action coming tomorrow, because there's still 2 more races to be sorted out for round 6. That's the pack in the mid there. Hazeman, Svisa Temba, Tyre and Piper. And further back in the pack, this is the rear end of the field. Once again, Zietsman has dropped to the back. Scaling has moved to the front. And it's Nkululeko Majola who's putting pressure onto the back end of Henk Scaling. And Scaling is feeling it. Around the outside of Sunset. That's a pretty impressive bit of riding there from a man who hasn't got a lot of experience around Kyalami. But Nkululeko Majola finding something special here in this second heat of round 5. As they head towards Clubhouse, you'll see him trying to look on the inside there, maybe for the overtaking maneuver. He's got the line. He might be able to make it stick. Let's see what happens. Heading down towards the S's one more time. 1, 2, and 3, no changes as they come out of the S's there. Van Bredar, though, is closing the gap. As he does that, Purificati will be looking over his shoulders and wondering what is going on with his motorcycle, because Van Bredar has found something special. Have a look at this though. Here's the 4th place battle. Van Dalen hits the front. He gets into 4th now ahead of Bontekoning. Bontekoning dropping into the clutches of Han McMahon. And it looks like Dave Enticott has joined the party as well. And just behind that, it's Safisa Temba fighting hard, by the looks of it, with the hard charging Dieter Hazeman. Yes, Eastrand Bike and Boat taking on the IM63 Wakahinya man. And of course, he's now being helped out by National Motorsport Mzansi. It's great to see that impressive bit of riding coming out of the IM63 man, continuing here in race number 2. Haven't seen a lot of the number 2 out there, speaking of 2s, but there he is, Mark Newland, looking good on the FIFO Electrical Group Kawasaki. That's awesome to see. I wonder what that top speed is from that point of view. The speed gun out there as Sella went across the line. I'm going to go for about 260 odd k's an hour as they come across the line there, but then they'll head down and go even quicker to about the 290-ish k an hour mark before they climb on the brakes down into Crowthorne Corner. In that mid-pack, you've got Renatus Vanica, looks like it's Steve Galgocci in there as well. Great little fight, absolutely brilliant. Nice slow-mo shot there as well, coming out of the 7-9 bike of Nico Zitzman. And you can see fights all the way through, but awesome to get these like real slow-mo close-up action shots of our riders as they come through here, and just showcasing what ZX10 Masters Cup is all about. Multiple champion, there he is in Graham Van Breda, GVBD, taking a couple of these championships in the past on his Stefanuti stocks and Motul Kawasaki. And then you've got Bonti, he's looking for a chance to wrap up Class C, still staying ahead of Van Dalen. He's got back ahead of Van Dalen now. Looks like Entercott might have dropped back slightly, and in doing so has fallen into the clutches of Agliotti and Barson. Barson now onto the tailpiece of Keith Agliotti. So Steel Monkey taking on the Ridgeway Race Bar bike. Behind that, it's the 166 of Reggie Seal. He makes up the top 10. Just out of the top 10 comes Henk Kruger. On his tail is Peter de Vos. De Vos at this point in time second in the Class Cs. 63 bike there, I am 63, Class B at this point in time, I think 4th or 5th for Sifiso Temba. And then behind that, you've got the likes of Lubabalo and Sano, Byron Rothcall, Jacques Cruz, and Steve Galgocci in the mix as well. They're all fighting for just inside the top 20. And Raymond Keel coming in just behind that on the number 33. Yes, he ran 33 a long time before Brad Binder did, so he'll take the accolades on that. Back up to the top of the hill, we pick up on the leader. It's Clincella doing a superb job, as always, on that King Price Kawasaki. This is the fight we'd love to see. Look at this. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Bontekunen's lost out again, and it looks like Van Dalen's hit the front of that pack as we once again go back to the Class C Silver Dream Racer from John Gonjosi Outsourcing. Peter de Vos still hanging on to second place in Class C. Great battle here as well. This is really good to see. Dieter Hazeman, Sifiso Temba fighting so hard and looking to try and spoil each other's days there if they can. It's not going to be an easy day in the saddle. Good to see that as well. We're getting more and more pictures of guys coming through there. Look at that, flat out across the line. That was Henk Kruger we just picked up on. Crowds have stuck around for the race action that's been provided by the ZX10 Masters Cup, and they've stuck around for lots of action provided here at the Festival of Motoring. And once again, a massive thanks to the team from Festival and Messe Frankfurt for enjoying and giving us the opportunity to enjoy the race action here and be part and parcel of this incredible event at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. Top three have not changed. It's Van Breda hanging on for third. He's going to get the win in the Bs if he stays where he is. This is the battle for fourth. And have we lost somebody down there? Yes, we have. We've lost Bontekunен. Bontekunen's dropped back slightly. So Brian Bontekunen's dropped back ever so slightly. Agliotti still fighting with Barson as they come through Barbecue and Yuxke. Barson sneaks through. Barson just finding a way through there. Reggie Seal about to be caught up by Peter de Vos. Yes, de Vos has got through and found a way to close that gap down ever so slightly. He's coming along for the ride. And with that, bringing along Henk Kruger as well. So Kruger, de Vos, and Reggie Seal fighting for that last position in the top 10. And they've only got a couple more laps to go. They're running out of laps here rapidly. And with that, of course, it's now time to sort of put the hammer down. You've got to try and make these overtaking maneuvers stick and make them stick so that they get to the line to get up the checkered flag before the race ends and you run out of the 8 laps allocated. Remember, if there are any red flags or any situations that happen out on circuit with this event particularly, it means that the race will come to a stop. They will not come back out again. Unfortunately, in both race 1 and 2, we haven't had a scenario that has required that. This man, though, is not looking for a red flag. He's looking for a checkered flag. And as he heads towards the line, it's going to be 2 wins out of 2 starts and round 5 in the bag for Clincella. He takes the victory and he can literally put one hand on the trophy right now. That's how much of a margin he's got. And if he takes 2 more wins in the next 2 races of this weekend, he's going to leave this round and head to Cape Town with a huge advantage over the rest of this field. And as I said, that would give him arguably an untouchable advantage. But you never know. In the sport of motorcycle racing, stranger things happen. And with the crowd now leaving after the great entertainment they've had, we certainly hope they've enjoyed all this race 2 action from round 5 of the Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup. As the riders make their way back into pit lane, as we saw in the first race, it's always good to see a big crowd still sticking around here. They've all stuck around, of course, not only to see the bikes come back into pit lane, but also to see an opportunity of getting into one of the cars for a hot lap around Kyalami at Festival. But it gives them a chance to get up close and personal and to meet some of the riders and to see some of the antics that always happen in the Park Fermé area. We mentioned it in race 1, but just have a look. I'll leave it to a little bit of music in the background from our director. Just watch how these guys gesticulate and chat about what happens in the race and how it all went and what went down at certain corners. Yeah, it was thumbs down there, unfortunately, for JLR, but he'll be, I'm sure, ready to rock and roll, hopefully in time for tomorrow's 2 races for round 6. But there are a couple of riders that have been suitably impressive here this weekend in this first 2 race of the weekend. And the races of the weekend, of course, will be wrapped up with a little bit of prize giving. Some of the guys are stuck around. Let's have a look at the official results. Sella taking the win over Purificati. Van Bredal comes through for 3rd place and the win in Class B. He beats out Hein McMahon, Adrian van Dalen, David Enticott, and James Barson for 2nd in Class B. He's down in 7th. Agliotti is in 8th. It was the win for Class C in 9th for Brian Bontekoning ahead of Reggie Seal. Henk Kruger in 11th. And of course in 12th place, good ride there from Peter de Vos taking 2nd in the Class Cs. And down in 19th place, Jacques Cruz will take 3rd in Class C. So that's how Class C wraps up. And of course wrapping up the bottom end of the field, Raymond Kiel, Nkululeko Majolo, Henk Scaling, and Nico Zitzman. Mark Newland had some problems, a little bit of electrical issues. Johan Leroux, as we saw, had the crash, and hopefully he'll be back. And we know Timo Green will be back for round 6. So with the race action completed, it's now time to hand out the trophies for round 5. Great to see the camaraderie amongst all of the competitors as they stand by to get those trophies. And the hard-earned work that's been done here for race day 1 at Festival of Motoring is now going to be rewarded as they get up onto the podium. Great to see the podium and all the riders getting up there. Smells good, doesn't it? Victory always smells good. Let's see what happens now, heading into round 6 tomorrow, and more action from the Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup.
Here with JLR, Johan Leroux, one of the most experienced veteran riders in the Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup. Johan, round 5 of the Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup here at the Festival of Motoring at Kyalami. It's been a difficult, qualifying and race 1 and race 2 for you. This is the cleaner side of the bike. The other side of the bike doesn't look as pretty. How's it been going?
Yeah, Sean, unfortunately, this morning with the qualifying round, I ran out of, I would say talent, but my biggest problem was actually running out of brakes. Came in, fixed it, led the system a little bit. Well, most probably not good enough. Race 1 was all right. Race 2, obviously, as they can see, brakes fell totally down the main straight. Luckily, I kept it on the right-hand side of the track because I could feel it was start to fade, the brake. So, and when I was braking for turn 1, there was nothing. And to make a story a little bit shorter, that was it. Into the kitty litter and a hell of a bump on my knee. But we're fixing it up now. Hopefully we'll be all right for tomorrow.
Well, there we go. Glad you're right. That's obviously the biggest thing. Read the system, and we hope to see you back out challenging at the front tomorrow.
Thanks, Sean. We'll do.
The 2025 Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by Sunbet, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice, VAG Automotive Centre Centurion,
and EBC brakes.